this question, let's get into it. Let's talk about it. I know I've shared it plenty of times, but there are those that don't know the story yet, and Mama Leaf, you were curious as well, so I did share that I would let you guys know, whoever wanted to know. Oh boy. The older I get, the more embarrassed I am, and yeah, it just, the bottom line is we learn and we grow and we get wiser, and I'm very grateful for that. So here's the tea. It's not just tea, it's some very hot and spicy tea. Okay, so what happened was, I was living with an older brother and his wife and their kids at the time, and I was working at a gas station, and there was this guy that came in to like get some gas and maybe some other stuff or whatever, and I remember commenting on his shirt because he was wearing this military shirt. I have some brothers that are in the military, so it's kind of close to home, and I've been incredibly grateful to all of our war heroes, you know. So I commented on it and told him, like, I like your shirt or something like that. And he said thank you and whatever, and we didn't really talk much, I don't think. I may have like mentioned about my brothers being in the military, and I just want to appreciate our soldiers, that kind of a thing. And so I think I was just getting off work, and I saw him out there, and we saw each other again, and he called out to me and says, "Hey, are you single?" And I'm like, yeah. So it's a long story. I'm gonna try and keep it brief. Lesson learned: if someone asks you if you're single, you should probably ask them if they're single as well. So anyway, I remember we start, it's been literally, this was back in like 2014 maybe. I was 24. And this was, yeah, I had moved up from the older couple's house and moved in with my brother and his wife and their kids, like I said. And this was back in Colorado. And so, like, I'm just feeling like this, grown up, and just, trying to find my way in life and everything, and being excited, to be out on my own and, all that kind of good stuff. So I, at that point, I was actually talking to, as well, my first husband, but my first husband and I weren't even boyfriend and girlfriend yet. But I remember, so it got to a point where I'm forgetting some details, but I told my first husband that I wanted to take a break from him because I was honestly trying to decide who I liked more, and coincidentally, they both had the same exact first name. What? So anyway, fast forward, there came a point where, so this dude comes to my brother and sister-in-law's church for a Christmas Eve service or something like that. And my sister-in-law, kind of being the, well, about everybody's business kind of person that she is, I'm grateful for it now. She asked him, a lot of these personal questions, and some of which I didn't even ask. And then somehow she asked him something, and he said that he was going through a divorce. And, of course, my brother and sister-in-law are like shocked, and I am too. Maybe the dude and I texted some more about that. I don't even remember. But I know it got to a point where he wanted to meet up with me and talk about it. So I remember I was getting off work, and my brother and sister-in-law were like, please don't do this. You shouldn't do this. He's a married man. This is wrong. And I'm like, I literally stayed in my work clothes, from the gas station that I worked at. I'm like, I'm not getting dressed up for him. I'm not putting on my makeup. I won't let him pick me up. We're going to meet at a Starbucks. He just wants to tell me what's going on. Like, I don't know, like, everyone goes through a divorce for a different reason, right? I don't know. I'm like, I just want to hear what he has to say. He said he wants to talk to me, so that seemed legit, right? And they're like, no, like, they didn't forbid me, but they were pretty firm of like, we don't think it's a good idea. This isn't right. You're a Christian, right? So, I was like, yeah, but I'm a 24-year-old grown ass woman. Like, I can make my own decisions even though I'm living at my, sibling's house. So I met up with him. Turns out Starbucks was closed. So we went to Walmart and they had a Subway in there. The guy he bought me my Sprite. He's like, well, let's get something to drink, because we weren't really hungry or whatever. And I'm like, okay, well, it's a gentlemanly thing to buy something for a lady, right? I wasn't trying to let him, do anything romantic or anything. And I do remember he needed to buy some deodorant, and I like helped him smell, just like see if it was a good scent or whatever it was. Oh goodness. And so he was explaining about, because he was a military guy and just stuff about her and whatever. Anyway, so my phone literally was blowing up. My parents, siblings, I don't even remember how much of my family was like, what would Jesus do? Like, you shouldn't be doing this. Hannah, seriously, like, get your act together, And then when I got back to my brother and sister-in-law's house, they were literally sitting at the dining room table. My sister-in-law would not talk to me. She had my brother do all the talking, but she would tell him stuff to tell me. Like, she was ticked off. They gave me an ultimatum. They were like, you have to here are your two choices. You do have to move out. We're, kicking you out. You either have to go and find your own place in 2 weeks, or we are moving you back in with our parents. Well, I looked for a place to live. There was one place that I thought could work, but he was like a sketchy kind of a landlord, creepy, and just didn't seem like the best place and whatever. And I just couldn't find anything. I couldn't afford anything. So my brother packs me up and moves me back into my parents' house. So, yeah, as I look back now, I'm like, you know what? I would not have done that, but I truly, looking back, I'm like, I innocently and genuinely thought I wasn't doing anything wrong because, he's trying to tell me stuff, and I tried to do everything possible to make it not seem like a date or anything, but he was a married man, and I do look back now, and I'm like, yeah, that was wrong, and I should not have done that, and I've learned so much since then. So yeah, that just definitely a lesson learned, and, yeah, and I remember even telling the dude that, my brother's kicking me out and blah, 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 and all this stuff, and, so I get it, wherever you live, with siblings, family, your parents, they can have some rules, and if you break them, I guess they do have that authority to kick you out. So, that is the tea. Yeah, we live and we learn. Okay, toodaloo.